the bizarre Islamic reason Pakistan shut down a breast milk bank. Pakistan's first human milk bank, launched in June of 2024, so last month, has been temporarily suspended due to religious concerns, sparking a heated debate in the Muslim majority nation. While supporters argue that the initiative is crucial for infant health, religious scholars claim that it violates Islamic law regarding breastfeeding. The controversy centers around the concept of milk kinship in Islam, which establishes a familial like relationship between a woman and any child that she breastfeeds. Despite initially receiving religious approval, the Sindh Institute of Child Health and Neonatology, or SICHN for short, halted operations after a revised fatwa came down from the religious authorities. The SICHN stated, quote, "This decision is in compliance with the updated religious guidance and reflects our ongoing commitment to operate within the framework of Islamic jurisprudence." The Institute now seeks further guidance from religious bodies, highlighting the complex interaction of modern healthcare practices and religious traditions in Pakistan. This situation underscores the challenges faced by Muslim majority countries in implementing potentially life saving medical initiatives while adhering to religious principles. So, let me give a little bit of background. Okay. So, this is a milk bank that has been being worked on and being pushed towards being established for a really long time. This milk bank was going to be conducted in cooperation with UNICEF. And for those who might not understand, milk banks are crucial in helping infants. So, and this is particularly important for women that are having difficulty producing breast milk, or maybe they have their own nutritional or health problems that are getting in the way of them proper being able to breastfeed. Sometimes they can feed but their baby doesn't want to latch, so it's easier to get in a bottle. There's all these other things, and breast milk is particularly important for children who are in like the NICU or are born preterm. Like, this can really be life saving, and there are giant benefits to breast milk when it comes to getting fatty acids in the brain, allergens, all this stuff. um and so basically, there was a fatwa that came down, and that so they were working with religious authorities to establish that this is going to be totally okay, that this that we are going to be able to do the milk bake in a totally halal way. Because for those who don't know, there is an Islamic understanding that if a woman breastfeeds a baby, that baby is now basically related to her, is now part of her familial line. And there are many bizarre instances of this throughout Islamic history that I'm sure Armin will bring up and we can talk about. Okay. I I
Quickly
can
bringing
see
up the
his face
hadith.
in the background, and I can see he's like, "Investigate mode. Let me pull up this idea." Okay. So, this is a huge problem because and this means that in most Islamic countries, they do not have breast milk banks which can help save babies' lives because of this belief. Apparently, Iran is one of the few Islamic countries that actually has a breast milk bank, but that's because they are Shia Kafirs anyways. No, I'm kidding. So, um, where was their original ruling about how this was supposed to be implemented? So they were working with the religious authorities to make sure that this would all be implemented in the correct Islamic frameworks, because the milk kinship relationship is supposed to be akin to a blood tie, which means that you cannot marry a sibling through breastfeeding. Someone who becomes your sibling through breastfeeding, quote unquote, is now haram to you. You cannot marry them. And so basically, the religious authorities were saying that you're only Previously, the ruling was that this can continue, but you need to explain to women that about the concept of milk kinship. You need to keep records of who had what milk. You need to keep records of who it came from, who it went to, and only milk from Muslim women can be provided to Muslim children. So now the milk bank needs to be making sure that any non-believing babies don't get this milk from the ummah, okay? Like they're also making sure that non-Muslim babies can't get the milk. And this then so they unveiled this milk bank and it came forward and blah blah blah. And then 1 week later, they put down a new fatwa and they say, "No, what? We changed our mind. This isn't gonna work." And basically, they revoked their decision because they believed that there was no way for the rules that they made to be pragmatically implemented. So they're like, if there's no way that this is gonna be pragmatically implemented, then this whole thing is just forbidden. Because one problem that comes about is that oftentimes at milk banks, multiple batches from multiple mothers can be combined into one batch that's then given to a child. And so there's just too many issues in trying to figure out where this milk came from. And then it's going to make it impossible to keep track of who's now family legally. And then at what point are these records supposed to come out to make sure that you don't actually marry a milk sibling? Excuse I almost said blood sibling, that's not a same thing, it's a milk sibling. And so, long story short,
Yes.
a bunch of muftis decided that these babies can't get the milk that could save their lives because they could maybe be siblings and get married one day.
Wait, no, they can't get married.
That's
So
that's
if
what I
so,
meant, sorry, I misspoke.
yeah, okay. Yes, yes, yes. So for example, should I give no, I shouldn't give this example. I was gonna use me and you as an example, but that could get weird, right?
Whoa.
But
Whoa, pause.
so imagine that um I'm working with a woman in an office and I'm a Muslim and she's a Muslim.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we cannot talk. I cannot look at her. I cannot be close to her because this is un Islamic. First of all, it's un Islamic that she's working in an office to begin with, but let's ignore that part, right? But there's a solution. I can, I can. She can suckle me, right? Meaning that if she has milk, if she's lucky enough for her to have milk at that time, I could just go and I could put my lips around her nipples and I could suck on her nipples and drink her milk three times, and then now we're family, right? That means that I cannot marry her ever, right? But she is now my mom, my milk mom, okay? Right, and I will show you how this is part of a fundamental part of Islamic teaching. This is Sahih Hadith, and now I can talk to her. I can even hug her. We can sit next to each other. It's completely fine now. Islamically, now this is completely fine because she is now my milk mother, right? So, just to make it clear that this is actually something that in Islam they talk about,
This was a
this was
real
back
fatwa.
yeah, this was a real fatwa back in May 2007. Dr. Izzat Atiyah, head of Al Azhar University's Department of Hadith. So this is like, you can't get more authoritative than this. We're talking about Al Azhar University, and the head of the Department of Hadith issued a fatwa or Islamic legal decree saying that female workers should breastfeed their male co workers in order to work in each other's company.
That's a hell of an HR policy.
Yes, yes, right. And so, and just to be clear that this is all within Islam, right? We're not making this stuff up. This is which hadith? This is Sahih Muslim. Guys, the people who are follow this channel, they know that Sahih Muslim is like as authoritative as Islamic in Islam as you could get. So, and again, this is Messenger of Allah. Muhammad said this. This is Muhammad, right? Oh no, this is somebody talking to Muhammad, saying, Messenger of Allah, oh Muhammad, I see on the face of Abu Hudayfa signs of disgust. So there's a woman that is talking to Muhammad, right? On entering of Salim, who is an ally, into our house. So this is a woman who's talking to Muhammad. He's saying like, I think my husband, whenever this guy comes to our house, this guy, my husband, I think is disgusting. Whereupon Allah's apostle Muhammad responds, suckle him. Muhammad told this woman that if you have an issue with this guy coming into your house, then what you could do is you can suckle him, right? That's the solution that Muhammad is giving. She said to the woman, how could I suckle him as he is a grown-up man? This is an adult. Suckle an adult?
So
And
even
Muhammad
back at
responds,
that
Allah,
time, they were like,
yes.
"Bruh, what?"
What the hell? Yes, this is not like, well, it was normal back in the day. According to Islamic hadith, they were like, they had Pikachu face back then in response to what Muhammad said. They're like, what are you talking about? That woman was like, what are you talking about? That guy's an adult. You want me to breastfeed an adult? Allah's messenger, Muhammad, smiled and said, "This. Why did they include the smiling part? This sounds so makes it so creepy. It
He's
makes
like,
it so creepy."
"Yes, yes." "Oh, girl, don't worry. It's all fine.
Oh my
Yes."
god. Oh my. Again, guys, here's all. We're not making this stuff up. Here's all the source. They could see this is look it up, right? Muhammad smiled and said, I already know that he is a young man. Okay, and then what is this? Oh, I don't know what this is. Has
Amir?
made this addition in
Oh,
his.
no.
Oh, yeah. Amir has made this addition into his narration. Okay, so the rest is explaining when the context. And again, we have more hadiths here. Salim has attained puberty as men attain. Okay, so this is another one to show that Allah's apostles said to her, suckle him and you would become. Oh, yeah, this is what Muhammad said. Suckle him and you would become unlawful to him. So people don't understand, like, what are you talking about? Why is he saying unlawful? If I suckle him, that means I could be in his company. Wouldn't that make him lawful? Unlawful here means unlawful in marriage. Unlawful means like he is now a member of your family. So in Islam, they have this weird way of referring to your members of your family as unlawful because you cannot fuck them, right? So you cannot fuck your mom, you cannot fuck your sister, you cannot fuck your daughter. So instead of referring to them as members of your family, you refer to them as unlawful. Imagine how, like, if you want to say refer to your daughter, right? You told them as um, uh, mahram, like unlawful in your family. So every time you want to refer to your daughter, you have to think about, like, if you're actually thinking about the meaning of the words, you have to think about like having sex with your daughter, like, oh person who I cannot have sex with. What a loving way to refer to members of your family, right? So Muhammad is saying, suckle them for them to become unlawful to you, meaning that they will become members of your family. So this is a method prescribed by Prophet Muhammad. And the most bizarre thing, you thought this is the end of fun, right? You thought this was the end of all the fun things that we had to show. This was the least ridiculous of all of this, the least ridiculous, because it gets so much better. So
Are we
I don't
going
know
into
if you
Sheikh
guys,
Albani yet?
yes, this is what I want to show you guys. Okay, so if If you do not know who this guy is, this is Sheikh Albani. This is the most semi-contemporary scholar. I mean, almost. He died in 1999. This is one
Mhm.
of the most Islamic scholars of our time. This is a guy that is so respected that he is like in par with like Bukhari and Muslim in the sense that when he could when he says a hadith is sahih, people in the Islamic world recognize him as sahih. Like there's a lot of hadith books that if you open in um, Islamic libraries or bookstores, if you see a hadith is sahih, it's because this guy has put a sahih stamp on it. Like this guy is a legend when it comes to modern Islamic scholars. He's recognized and respected by so many Muslims, right? I would say the biggest modern Islamic scholar. If maybe I'm exaggerating, but I don't think so, right? But let's see what he had to say about suckling and breastfeeding adults, because they asked him, they went and asked him, and there's audio recording of this, by the way. There's audio recording. I played the audio recording in one of the shows, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, he's because they asked him, here's the problem, right? So the people who are no mahram to you, like the people that you're not supposed to look at, or they have to have the hijab on, the people who are not members of your family, it's not that it's illegal for you to have sex with them. It's also illegal for you to touch them. Like so for example, if I see Susanna, if I want to shake her hand, the fact that our skins are touching, that's illegal. That's haram in Islam. That's a no-no. Okay, so it's not just sex. It's I can't look at her. I can't touch her. I can't anything. That's all illegal in Islam, right? So people ask Albani, how the hell are you supposed to suckle a man before they're a member of your family? Because once they're a member of the
Yeah.
family, then it's okay for me to touch them, hug them, look at them, right? But if I, at the point in time that I put my lips on her nipple, she is still not a member of my family. So my lips are touching her nipples. Does that not make it haram? Especially given that I have to she has to suckle me 3 times. So like, because some people say like maybe within time and space, the moment that you do the act of suckling, like when the lip touches the nipple, maybe immediately she becomes lawful to you for you to touch. But people were like, no, because it says it has to be 3 times. So that first time is still not good enough for her to be your milk mother. So your lips are touching your nipples, and you weren't supposed to even touch hands. Now you're touching nipple with lips. So how is that allowed? How is that allowed, Albani? Make this make sense, because a lot of people, a lot of Muslims were trying to make it make sense by saying like, well, maybe she could put the milk in a cup and you could drink the milk. And they're like, no, do not change the hadith. The hadith that I showed you specifically says suckle. It specifically says suckle. Suckle requires sucking, okay, on
I
the
want to
nipple.
see you get a good latch.
Yes, yes. So Albani has the answer. Okay, here.
This
So
is
this is
just
his
gold.
opinion.
Guys, this is why I said at the beginning of the show, this is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes. So he says it is possible for his husband to use the means of his breastfeeding his brother. This brother would become the son of his wife through breastfeeding. So, for example, he's saying like if you're a man and you have a wife and you want your wife to be able to talk to your brother like they are okay, like they be privately next to each other and talk to each other. So your husband could get your wife to breastfeed your brother, and now your wife is your brother's mother, and that's fine. That works. Albani says that works out, right? And so here's why all of this works. So he says, I personally say I do not mind the breastfeeding occurs directly from the nipple. So Albani says that's okay. You don't have to use a cup. This is because it does not cause that which might bring temptation to the mind. Because with regards to temptation, it is when the flesh of the full breast is exposed. The nipple,
Mm.
as husbands know, is not a subject of desire because it is dark black. So he says, don't worry about lips touching nipples Because nobody is attracted to nipples. Okay? This is the Islamic scholar talking about. Saying nobody in their right mind would be attracted to nipples because nipples are black and nobody is attracted to black skin. So that's why it's okay. It's the breast that is sexually desirable. It is not the nipple that is sexually desirable. So as you could make the nipple showing without the breast showing, and it's fine because that is not going to cause temptation. So
Naturally.
I don't know if
Naturally.
this is racist or not. Also, I don't know, is this guy saying that nobody is attracted to black people because they have dark skin? I don't know if this man knows that some women have pink nipples. Not all
No, but
nipples are
if you're
black.
when you get
Oh,
pregnant, your nipples get dark.
okay.
This is a part of pregnancy, your nipples darken, and then you can
Is there
breastfeed.
is there any exception? Okay, so that's fine then. That works out. That checks out. So, anyways, by the way, this is what Islamic scholars sit around and think about. That if you're wondering, what do these great scholars um, spend their resources on? This is it. This is it.
But here's the thing, okay, you know, if this is a rule that exists,
Mm.
the it is a question worth asking. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like, okay, if this is a way to become family or whatever, but you're not family up to that point and temptation can be caused, it is a genuine question. I had a similar question. Well, if these are the rules that are established, how are you supposed to get that milk?
Yes. Yeah, this is why I completely agree with this. Mufti Armin agrees with this law because this could end up you not knowing that you're fucking your mom. Right, again, YouTube, we do not accept this. Like, I'm just saying, what, like, this is what Islamic like, this is so dangerous. Like, imagine you're spreading milk around everywhere, and like you're just making people mothers of other people without them knowing who's the mom of who. So Islam is very concerned about making sure that you do not have sexual intercourse with your mom. But if this milk is in the public and you don't know who's your mom, you might have so many moms, and then you get married and you have sex with them, and then you're just having sex with your moms. You have a whole nation of having sex with their moms. This is why it was very reasonable for the Pakistani authorities to come stop all this motherfucking.
It was so funny, and because I know this stuff, right? Like, D sent me this news, and it just has the headline like Pakistan shuts down breast milk bank. I don't even have to read the article. I already know what the issue is. I already know like what the contention is. Um, yep,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
So this is what we're stuck with. This is what we're stuck with.
well, I thank you for the Pakistani authorities. Thank you for your service. Thank you for saving the society from all this evil. We appreciate your service. This is what Pakistanis could sleep rest assured at night, that their officials are doing the hard work in making sure that they protect them in every way imaginable. Except if you get accused of blasphemy, then you're on your own,
Mhm.
of course.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Um, Reincarnation Entertainment, let's do some super chats. Gave a super chat saying, consider donating to Atheist Republic, guys. They are some of the best atheists out there. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Um, Arjun gave a
Thank
super
you.
chat saying, considering how things are in Pakistan, do you think the partition and the general concept of separate countries for separate religions is a good idea? No,
No.
I honestly think that partition was one of the worst things that happened in the 20th century. Uh,
Yes.
Disaster. We probably could have saved a lot of Bengalis, a lot of pain if it wasn't for the bullshit that uh, East Pakistan put them through after partition. I mean, unmitigated disaster. You know, that maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. Um, Trells gave a super chat saying, Armin, Google this Israeli nurse era baby. Well, I'm going to be honest, those keywords do not render anything, but I think I found what you were referring to, which is a story about, an Israeli nurse that breastfed a Arab Israeli boy that, when
Oh,
his mom was unconscious because of a, car crash.
oof.
Um,
Oh, that I can see the drama there.
Jay gave a super chat, thank you, saying, "I saw in the news that the general public are against it too." Oh, yeah, so that the public was against the milk bank. Imagine the level of rot in Pakistan. This country is beyond the point of redemption, like a stage 3 cancerous tumor. What an insane country. I
One
don't
of
know
the
what to
worst.
do.
I think it's Pakistan and North Korea. I don't like are the two up there when it comes to the level of insanity. That
Oh,
I don't know which one wins.
what about Afghanistan?
Well, Afghanistan and Pakistan and North Korea is also the problem is very top down. Like it's not just bottom up; it's also top down. Afghanistan is like the economic foundation, the values is so within the population. Like for example, we could fix North Korea if we just get the different officials, right? We could fix Pakistan if we have we have certain politicians with certain values come in and change the structure of the country, right? But
I don't know about
Afghanistan,
that. I don't know about that. They might get assassinated.
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Okay, fine. I agree with that. Afghanistan as well. Afghanistan as well. Are we missing anyone else? Afghanistan, Pakistan, North Korea.
Those are the ones
That's it.
jumping out
These
at
three.
me.
Yes, these are the three countries. Okay, so here's why I say Pakistan and not Afghanistan, because it makes sense to me. Afghanistan, the insanity and the barbarism and the radicalism, it's just like pure barbarism, right? It's just pure terrorism. But when it comes to Pakistan, you get stories like, what the is this, the onion? Like when it comes to Afghanistan, we get when it comes to Afghanistan, you just get headlines that it's just tragic. But when it comes to Pakistan, you get headlines that are tragic and are like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, is this a joke? Like that's the difference. Do you know what I mean? Like North
Mhm,
Korea has headlines sometimes like that too. This is why I think North Korea and like Pakistan are in a different. It's just it's barbaric, but it's also just weird. Afghanistan is just like barbaric and evil and cruel. You don't
mhm.
get onion headlines that much from Afghanistan.
Um, okay, GJ gave a super chat saying, Wilders' party is remarkably socialist. Wilders understands quickly his socioeconomic policies had to include fair taxing, welfare, etc. I think this had to do with you talking about their protectionistic flair.
Yeah, protectionist and isolationist, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
everything I support these parties' stance on Islam, on migration, but economic plans, and I think there's much to be desired.
Um, Erican just became a member. Oh, hi, great. Thank you, Erican. Welcome to Satan's Minions. Um, GJ gave another super chat and said, "Oh, and did you know you can't die in a UK government building? What does that mean? You can
I don't know.
physically die there. Do they not just write it
Don't
down into
challenge.
the calendar?" Yeah.
Don't challenge me.
Challenge accepted. Kenny gave a super chat saying, "So you can't show your hair as a woman, but you can breastfeed a grown man." Well, because no one's gonna be
Yes,
attracted to the nipple anyways.
yes, you have to just make sure that there's a tiny
Don't show
hole
the
that
breast,
it
just show the nipple.
don't show the breast, just show the nipple. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have like a glory hole, but it's just for nipples.
the nipple.
That
Yes,
just
yes.
you have a sheet, the
Also,
nipples
when
come
you're
through.
sucking, make sure you don't push your head forward so that you don't feel the breast, because that might be attractive. Make sure you're
Mhm.
just like sucking without actually pushing your face forward so you could feel the breast.
Mhm.
Because even if you don't feel the breast, even if you don't see the breast, just feeling the breast pushing on your face might actually be arousing. So just make sure you pull while you're sucking.
Obviously, obviously,
Okay.
obviously. I mean,
Yes.
this is guys, this is all completely logical. We're adults here. Um,
Mm.
and DJ gave another super chat saying, "But Muslims marry their cousins all the time. Many do, not all cultures."
That's
Um,
allowed. No, the
yeah, no, but
cousins
this,
are.
no, but guys, let's be clear. But this is the incest that matters.
Yes,
The
yes, yes.
milk
That is.
kinship is the incest that matters. In the
I
article that
honest.
we did on this, I think D included a tweet where someone was saying this is essentially the equivalent of if you donate blood, that you are now blood siblings with someone. Like if you donate blood, you don't consider the person that gets your blood like now part of your blood family. Of course not. That's ridiculous.
Mm. No, but this is spiritual. This is like milk. The act of milking is like it's not just physical stuff. There's something spiritually happening between the woman and the man
The
when you suck on
mother's
her.
milk, mommy's milk. Um,
Yeah.
GJ. Oh, Gasian gave a super chat saying not to kink shame, but hey, this is just because you're gay and you don't get it.
Yeah, you're.
You don't
Yeah,
get it.
you're just. Yes, you just kink shamed all straight people. It's not being straight is not a kink, Asian American. I know it's rare. It's like you don't understand straight people, but this is if it's so. This is part of being straight. If it's so widespread, it's not a kink anymore.
Um, Trells gave a super chat saying hashtag Muslim mommy issues. GJ gave another super chat saying, "Why are the big world religions always so sex fixated? The Abrahamic tradition has a big problem with sex." This is very, very true. I know Armin is a lot more knowledgeable about the history and evolutions of religions than me. I know
Actually, it
Christianity
makes
was.
a lot of sense though. I mean,
Go ahead.
as soon as we became civilized, as soon as we started producing more calories than we could, more calories per person when we started farming, then people specialize, and when people specialize, so one of the most important specializations was guarding, being soldiers, and we all of a sudden men's physical physical superiority to women made them in control of all resources, and that made woman, the body of woman, into a resource as well, made them into turned them into a commodity. So of course it would, when it comes to the survival of the memes, the ideologies that if more effectively manage this precious commodity, which is the body of a woman, the most effectively would survive more. So of course they would try to come up with rules and regulations, like just in the same way that you have regulations for trade. The body of the woman will become one of the most important commodities that needed to be up managed effectively for the leaders and the people of power to be able to control the population the most effectively. So having strict laws and regulations when it comes to ideologies that grew after we started our first city states was the only natural thing that could have happened afterwards, right? It's just it would have been exactly the other way around if women had more muscle than men on average. It would have been exactly the same thing, but the other way around. Men would turn into commodities.
Some of you would like that. um, this person, don't know their names, gave super chat saying many vloggers traveled and recorded in Xinjiang. Western media is nonsense. There is no ban on namaz or halal in China, but extremism isn't allowed. China has same law for all, unlike hypocrite EU. Okay, there's just too much to unpack here, but
Yeah, you
do you
cannot.
understand how, like, tightly controlled the people who are allowed to come in and out of China, especially that region, are, and what they are and not allowed to film, and who they are and are not allowed to speak to, and that it's all guided and pre-planned and okay. You know,
Yeah,
there are a lot. Okay, this is too much to get into right now.
Don't get into let me just give you a short response. You cannot regulate out bad ideas. It will not work and it will backfire. Okay? This is why this channel promotes a different way to fight Islam. There is no way, let's ban Islam. Let's ban bad ideas. It doesn't work. It backfires. It always backfires. So, yeah, I mean, it's good to be against extremism, it's good to be against Islam, but this methodology that Chinese government is using is not going to make these bad ideas go away. But yeah, that's good.
Um, Jay gave a super chat saying, "You think Saudi should change the holy book, like make a random story that Allah appeared in our dreams and He wants the Quran changed? That book is the whole problem. Maybe put some nice things in there. Anyone who is claiming to receive revelation better have good security. That's all I'm gonna say." I There are many central things that about Islam as a faith that make this whole idea impossible. It's already supposed to be perfect. It's already supposed to be uncreated. Muhammad is supposed to be the last prophet, the seal of the prophets, the last one to receive revelation. That's the entire point. Um, so I don't think this would go over very well. And I don't think people would believe it. I don't think they would buy into it. Asian American gave a super chat saying, "Would Chinese sworn brotherhoods be recognized as kinship under Islam? As Muhammad turmoil be upon him, said seek knowledge unto China." Well, what is the process for a Chinese sworn brotherhood? Like, is this a blood oath? Do they do they do like a handshake underneath a full moon? Like, what's the full ritual here? Does it involve suckling from the same woman? Okay, we have key questions we need to establish about this process. Um and GJ gave a super chat saying, "A small island housing an utterly xenophobic tribe of cannibals somewhere near South Korea, so coast guards patrol it because researchers all get eaten." I don't know what this has to do with anything.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.